Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27th, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead Allies.
And because America is too big for small dreams, we're here on July 1st talking some Chiefs football, and we are doing it with someone that you guys know very well. Bring him in here right now. It's been too long. Brian B. Shinen is here because America is too big for small dreams, folks.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Great to see you.
I have missed that face,
you, man.
You know, fellas, I miss you guys too. I miss being on the pod. I know you all are doing a great job. Shout out to Shaggy and Lance one time. But I know y'all have not been talking baseball at all. Rightfully so. The Royals have been playing like trash. They win one home game in all of June. We don't deserve that in Kansas City, but it's all good. Look, I had to throw in the throwback Royals, stuff, and bring some of that 1985 magic. The 40th anniversary of our World Series win, the 40th anniversary of Brian being born coming up in August. Look, baby, I got to bring a little Royals juju. I can't look. We about to go into Chiefs training camp. Y'all know how it is when the Chiefs get going. The Royals just kind of disappear a little bit, unfortunately. So look, man, shout out to my Kansas City Royals.
Hey, 40 is not so bad. Joe Theismann is here, our special guest. You're hanging out with a bunch of 40-year-olds. Is that okay?
Hey, makes me feel young.
A legend.
It's good, Joe.
You've got a lot more hair than all of us combined, though. That's not fair at all.
Well, we all have the hats on.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get rid of my telescope here. Hang on. All right, here we go.
Well, Joe, it's great to have you here. It's always a good time this is it. Every year we talk about the American century. It's coming up next week. For the second straight year, we're going to be out there. So can't wait to see you and grab an in-person interview with you. But man, when it gets to be this time of year, the American century, man, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And this year, the celebrity list is off the charts. And I think one of the days is already sold out on Saturday. So this is going to be a special one.
Yeah, we're expecting over 70,000 this year again. I mean, it's been unbelievable as far as the attendance goes. The American Century has done a fabulous job. I mean, American Century is such an incredible company and such a great partner for this tournament. I mean, they give away 40% of their gross profits to charity. 40% of the profits go to charity, the Stour Institute in Kansas City, which is, works on finding cures for diseases and all the research that they do. It's amazing what the company does as far as giving away the money. And this is a great opportunity for the charities in the Lake Tahoe area, as well as the Stour Institute. We've raised over $8 million in this is the 36th year. It's my 35th, to be honest with you. And what we've done too is we started this last year. We've added a fantasy element to it. So you can log on to accfantasygolf.com. And what you'll find there are the rules of the game. I'll give it to you in a short version. Everybody's broken down into 5 groups based upon your skill level. And you get to choose a person from each group. And each day you can change if you'd like. And if you win each of the days, whichever day you win, you wind up with 2 tickets to next year's tournament. If you win all 3 days and you get the ultimate prize, it's a $10,000 check to the charity of your choice and 2 tickets to next year. And the tournament's going to be July 11th through the 13th. And it's, Travis, the Kelsey brothers will be there. I think Travis is, by the way, speaking of Kansas City, I think Travis is going to have a great year. Not a good year, but a great year. I know how disappointed he was last year. Things just didn't work out. for whatever reason, we have those kind of years, but I guarantee you he'll be back with a vengeance this year.
Yeah, and Joe, talk about just kind of the scene at Lake Tahoe and just all the number of celebrities that come out to help support this, play golf, the camaraderie. I know there's a big scene at hole 17 there. The boat's right up next to the golf course and you're teeing off. Is there any nerves on that hole 17 with all those people watching on those boats yelling at you?
Yeah, it is. It's really different. I mean, and the other thing too is if you can't make it there live, you can watch it on Peacock, NBC, and the Golf Channel over the 3 days that we're there. But it is different. I mean, you're standing there all by yourself. I mean, like I say, this is my 35th year. I still get nervous as heck because you just don't want to hit it in the boat. That's the big thing. You just don't want to hit it out into the boats because they don't let you forget it as you walk down it. But it's exhilarating. It's exciting. It's fun. It's just a great time. We looked at some film a couple years ago when we first started the tournament out there, and there were probably 50 people on the hole. And I think maybe 2 boats. One was a dinghy. And now, the boats are 5-10 deep out to the lake. 20,000 people line that thing. I mean, they're deep as can be. It's so much fun. It's so exciting. And the weather's fantastic. And like I say, nobody does it better than American Century when it comes to putting on this kind of a show and the opportunity for us to play. I mean, first place money is $150,000. It's a total purse of $750,000. So there's a lot at stake. No handicaps. It's bring your game and pray.
Yeah, I don't know about us top golf players, but Joe, look, man, it's always a pleasure to hear your voice because it takes me back to my, like, I'm not trying to age you, but you are a legend to us. I'm a broadcast freak when it comes to sports broadcasters. You are always one of my favorites, especially Sunday nights with Mike Patrick. But with that on the side, man, you talked about Travis Kelce. You were reading my mind, actually, because in his press conference, he seemed a little more lighthearted, but focused and serious at the same time. And he said he made a decision way back in like late March to come back and play this year. With that being said, and all of the injuries that happened last year, which was to me a direct result of him having a down year, is when you lose your top 2 receivers going into the season. Exactly. I know that there's a heavy dose of game planning for the entire season and the off season, but how much do you think the Chiefs tailored their entire offense last year to Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown and not making Kelce so much the center point? How much do you think that affected the season and the outcome last year?
I just think there were a lot of different things. Travis is a big part of what they do. He's Patrick's security blanket. Art Monk was mine. Everybody has somebody that you sort of go to, or somebody that finds you in a tough situation. Because people would say, oh, okay, Patrick's looking for Travis. No, what it is Travis finds a place to get to so that Patrick can get him the ball. And I know you're a big baseball fan, by the way, too. We could talk about that in a minute if you want, but
maybe not. Now's not a good time for Kansas City in that.
It's not, but see, I mean, I got drafted by the Twins to play professionally, and I love baseball. And Shohei Ohtani, to me, is just a phenom. I mean, what you're seeing here as young guys is something that is just absolutely incredible in the world of baseball. What he is he's Babe Ruth, born again, pitching, batting, stealing bases, home runs, you name it. And then, of course, with Aaron Judge in New York, it's the old back-to-back at it. It's that wonderful opportunity when you get players like that almost competing for greatness. And that's now, which segues me into what the Kansas City Chiefs have had to deal with. People lose sight of the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs over the last 5 years have played a season and a half more than anybody else. Mm-hmm. Going to as many Super Bowls as they have gone to, their off season is very short. And so, but your body needs the rest. And it's not an excuse, but it's a fact. I know when we went back to back, it was a different offseason for us after we won the first one. And we only played 12 games, I think, in the first one, 13, because it was a strike year.
Oh, yeah.
Then you see, you play the 17 regular season, then you get a bye. Now you've got 3 more to go before you get where you want to get. It's a 20-game season. You do that, 19, 20 games over a 3-year period, it wears on you. And I think Kansas City, again, was back to the Super Bowl one more time. I think everybody will focus differently on the things they want to accomplish. I just think the world of Andy Reid. I think he's phenomenal. Spags is incredible. The staff is solid as a rock. Patrick is, he's Ohtani. Okay. You just watch him work and you just marvel at what his abilities are, not just his athletic ability, but the way he controls the game, the way he processes information. And when he has to make throws, the throws that he makes. He and Shohei are, to me, two guys very comparable in different sports with the greatness that they possess.
Well, some greatness that we saw this past season, Joe, came from your neck of the woods, from the Washington Commanders, and what a season it was for Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn. What do you think? I mean, to me, the pressure that is mounted now for this team and this franchise after the wonderful rookie season from Jaden, they get to the NFC Championship game where you run into a buzzsaw, just like the Chiefs did. The Eagles were so good.
Yep.
And now the pressure mounts for this team. So how do you see the Commanders responding to this unbelievable season that kind of came out of nowhere and the progression of Jaden Daniels going forward?
I think they'll respond very well. I mean, it's the expectations are through the roof here in Washington. I mean, they really are. After the year they've had, Jaden is such a great kid. Mm-hmm. Terrific athleticism, throws the ball down the field, smart, works hard. You can list anything you want from an expectation of somebody who has a chance to be absolutely great, and he checks every box. Now, it's going to be a different story. When you look at last year, the last 4 or 5 games of the season, they were nail biters. Beat Philly in overtime. You hit an upright, you make a field goal, you're scoring late in the game, you get a Hail Mary. So many things happened at the end of the year, really after the Hail Mary against Chicago. Things really went their way in a lot of different instances. Now it's a little bit different. Now you get Kansas City in Kansas City. You play Detroit. You play Denver. You've got the Eagles twice. They finished the season with, let me see, it's the Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. Those are the last 4 games. And then you have to travel to Madrid to play the Miami Dolphins. So you're really in a situation where you've got a tougher schedule. You're playing a lot of playoff teams, but I believe this team is prepared for that. Dan does a great job, and I think Adam Peters has just done a magnificent job of putting this team together. And one of the benefits that the Commanders have is they have a rookie quarterback, which means that you're not paying him $60 million a year. So you have money to be able to go get players that you want to fill the voids. I thought they had an excellent draft too. Every player they drafted filled what I thought was a need and an area that could have used depth and improvement on this football team. So very positive. Everybody's excited about the future. Looks like there's going to be approval of a new stadium, which they think may be open by 25, 30. Or by 30, I should say, excuse me. So things are really exciting in Washington.
Well, Joe, kind of after this Super Bowl, a lot of people are talking about Patrick Mahomes and sliding him. And these past 2 years haven't been great statistically. And Chris Sims came out and said Lamar Jackson's number 1, Josh Allen's number 2, Joe Burrow's number 3, Mahomes is number 4. Ben Roethlisberger comes out, he'd say he'd take a prime Aaron Rodgers over current Patrick Mahomes and what he's done. So what do you think all this is about? Everyone wants to talk about the refs and what's going on, but where do you think Mahomes sits? And are we a year away from having a conversation if he has another kind of so-so statistical season about who's the best quarterback in the NFL?
I don't buy the baloney about statistical seasons and things of that nature. Patrick Mahomes to me is the best. Look at his record. He's been 5 Super Bowls? Is that right?
Yeah.
He's been 5. How old is he?
29.
Okay, thank you very much. I rest my case, Your Honor. Okay.
I mean, he'll be 30 in September. You hit that, get another decade.
Hey, I'll be a certain age in September too, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. No, what Pat, you can't. I think the thing about Patrick that is so unique is he has been so good and so clutch, and that's the key word. He's been so clutch that people almost take him for granted now. Mm-hmm. It's like when Michael Jordan used to go up and shoot. Okay, you expected it to go in. When Shohei steps to the plate now, you expect him to hit a home run. You expect Aaron Judge to hit a home run. There were expectations that were created for Patrick, and if you don't live up to them, everybody goes, "Oh, he's just not as good as this." Those other guys that you listed don't have as many rings combined as Patrick does, See, the quarterback position is the single most dependent position on the field. There were a lot of things that happened, particularly, and the most important thing that happened in Kansas City last year were the problems in the offensive line. You had a guard playing tackle. Last year's Super Bowl looked an awful lot to me like the Tampa Bay Super Bowl.
Yep.
When you couldn't block those guys up front, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Superman. If they rush 4 and drop 7, there are very few holes to get the ball into. And he was under duress by 4 all day. But to me, the key to winning, the key to success, and you look at the Eagles, they filled it perfectly. Offensive and defensive lines. Their front 4 couldn't be blocked. The 5 up front for Kansas City couldn't block them. Bottom line, they just weren't able to do it. And so obviously the quarterback's in a situation where you try and make plays. And Patrick's done that. He does things sometimes where we just shake our head and go, wow, I can't believe he made that throw. But it happens on the other side, and you watch him make a play, and you go, wow, can't believe he made that throw. So to me, I still think Patrick has the magic. He has the moxie. He has the ability. And like I said, to me, I measure my standard of excellence is how many rings you can put on your finger as a part of a football team, and a very key part of what it is. Not to downgrade any of those other individuals that were mentioned. They really, they're really special. We're in an era with very special, talented quarterbacks, but there's only about 8 that can get you to the promised land. When you look around the league, that ought to be a fun thing you can do on your show. Take a look at all the starting quarterbacks in the National Football League and say, okay, can this guy get you to the promised land? Can this one? You'd be very interested to see how many you come up with.
Like 5 or 6.
We do that a lot, and you're right. It comes down to you're looking at like a Justin Herbert, elite arm talent, and hasn't won a playoff game.
No.
There's a line here that you got to get in, and it's a tough sledding to get through it. So yeah, you're right, Joe.
Yeah. Joe, I wanted to ask you about, first off, I want to say Jaden Daniels already in my top 5 favorite quarterbacks in the league. I love the way he plays. Absolutely. But with that being said, a quarterback's best friend a lot of times when they are under duress could be the running back coming out of the backfield. Now in 2022, Jerick McKinnon led the Chiefs with about over 800 yards receiving by himself. In 2023, it dwindled a little bit to like 550 yards total. Last year just went to hell. Maybe 300 yards total from the running backs receiving. You think about an Andy Reid offense, that is a staple in his offense, from Westbrook, from Jamal Charles to Spencer Ware, whoever was catching the ball out of the backfield for the Chiefs. That is one key element that I feel like has been missing with Mahomes and his offense ever since 2022, when the offense was not at its peak, but it was pretty high. It kind of dwindled down from there. How often did you use your running backs, and were you dependent on them to get you out of trouble? Maybe a quick pass or a blitz or something out to the flats when you see some heat on you?
Well, we had everybody had a very distinct role. John Riggins was our hammer. Joe Washington could do both. Joe Washington, even he was not a big guy, he loved to run inside. He loved to run behind the big boys because nobody could find him. Had exceptional speed on the outside. Had another guy by the name of Nick Giaquinto, who was a third down back. I think what we've evolved to in football are specialists. You have third down backs, you have first down backs. I mean, you're not going to, if it's 3rd and 11, Derrick Henry's not going to be on the field. Okay. It's just not going to happen. Saquon could or couldn't be. I mean, he's that kind of, could be a 3-down back, is a 3-down back. But we had different guys designated for different roles. I think Kansas City, wound up with different people that were hurt. Pacheco was hurt for a while. Kareem. I mean, you can't overcome injuries because I've said this many times. When you're playing with ones, you can beat anybody. If somebody has ones and they're playing your twos, you're going to struggle. Or if you're playing their twos, it's going to be a different story. So when you start bringing people in that are backups, guys that didn't win the starting job, when you don't have the ones and you got a bunch of twos playing, you're going to struggle. I think Kansas City had to manage so many different scenarios last year. I mean, they had 7 or 8 games, 1-score games.
Yeah.
They barely got by. But the problem is they set the bar so high that the expectations were there for them to continue to do what they were doing. And it doesn't work that way in our game. It just doesn't work. Injuries, a lot of games played by a lot of players, and then all of a sudden, it's almost like it's an exhale, and now it's time to reload. And that's why I expect Kansas City to be competing as they have in the past. I mean, the fact that they made it to the Super Bowl last year to me was something that everybody ought to talk about, because that was one heck of a coaching job. It was one heck of a job by the guys on the field, because it wasn't an easy road at all.
Well, one thing we need to talk about and give credit to is your Notre Dame Fighting Irish getting to the national championship game under Marcus Freeman, who's become my favorite coach in the country to cheer for. College football is a bit different, Joe, than probably when you walked on campus there in South Bend. Now we've got a $20.4 million salary cap for the athletic budgets. We've got things getting passed, and we've got transfer portals. We've got it all. How do you navigate this college game today? And it seems like if anyone, Notre Dame's done as good a job of any of navigating these waters and still putting a great product on the field that people can be proud of and cheer for in the midst of all this chaos.
Pete Vivak, our athletic director, and Marcus, and certainly all of our teams have done very well. I mean, see, the thing is too, it's $20.4 million per university, but then you have a collaborative group of people, I think, that can contribute money as well.
Sure.
College sports don't exist anymore. They're professional sports.
Right.
And the sin that is going on is there are high school kids that are being paid as well. I mean, we have taken what was amateur sports and totally destroyed it and ruined it. And I said this, I've said this time and time again. How can you possibly have a group of intelligent adults sitting around with the NCAA making a decision regarding the portal and have portal dates occur in the middle of the NCAA football playoffs and the NCAA basketball playoffs? Who in their right mind never looked at the calendar and said, maybe this isn't a really good idea to have guys quitting on their team at this juncture of the season? Hey, if you want to move, that's fine. I'm not trying to stop kids from moving. That's where we are today. I'm not one of those guys that stuck my head in the ground and said, oh, well, it should be like it was. No, times have changed. But my gosh, the backup quarterback from Penn State left the team in the playoffs.
Came to Missouri right here.
I mean, I'm saying, anyway, I think that it needs to be looked at and looked at hard. I think that you need to protect the athletes a little bit more. You have people coming out of the walls to represent them, and it's their choice of whom they would like to have represent them. But it's now it's a bidding war. I mean, that's all it is. And what I think what's happening too is we wind up with a lesser product in professional football because we have somebody who's continued to move around all the time and never really gets a foundation of learning how to play the game. You're basically drafting the athlete without a foundation of learning the game. And I say this to every young person. You can move around all you want. You can think you can be the athlete that everybody's talking about, but the game ends. And the only thing that you're going to have left is what you put in between your ears. And that's for a long, 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 long time. Hey, good luck and congratulations to those that receive the money. I think there's inadequacies in it. I don't know why football should receive as much as they do on a percentage basis. They'll say it's because they make the brunt of the income. I still think that there are other aspects of the universities that should be receiving a percentage, and they're not getting it.
Great stuff. That's awesome.
And Joe, just kind of going back to my last question, how do you kind of rank or view quarterbacks all time? A lot of people say if Dan Marino had those Niners teams, he would have had the 4 Super Bowls. And if Josh Allen had Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, he'd have the Super Bowls. And Aaron Rodgers is the most talented and maybe the best quarterback we've ever seen, but he just didn't have the team success. How do you kind of rank and view individual talent and players like an Aaron Rodgers and a Dan Marino versus the Joe Montanas and Patrick Mahomes, where they're seen as having better teams around them to support them, to lead them to that success?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP and a world champion. So, I mean, it's interesting. This question, I just thought of something. I liked when I get out to to the American Century Tournament, I like to visit with different individuals and ask them questions. What made you great? Off the top of your head, just tell me, what made you great? And I've had this conversation with Tom Brady. I asked Tom one day when I was doing broadcasting, I said, what made you great? He said, the right time, the right place, and the right people. And that to me is the answer to your question. I do not deny Lamar Jackson's athletic ability, his ability, John Harbaugh as a coach, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. You go down the list of guys that are really exceptional. Brock Purdy, I think, had a heck of a year. But it's the right time, the right place, and the right people is where you wind up winning championships. And so maybe you get like Kansas City was this year. You have a lot of injuries to deal with. You have guys that are suspended. You have guys unavailable to you. There's a tipped ball changes an outcome. There's so many things that affect the outcome of our games. But to me, I think it's those three things: the right time, the right place, and the right people. And Buffalo's come close. I think this is a huge year for Josh and the Bills. I thought Josh an MVP season. Absolutely. He made such great improvements in his decision process. Nobody's going to question his athletic ability and the size and his arm and everything else. But he made some great decisions through the course of the year to help his football team win. Lamar has gotten better and better as a passer, throwing the football down the field, getting rid of the football, getting it to the right place. Baltimore is going to lead the league in rushing every year with those two guys.
Yeah.
If they're not, there's something wrong somewhere. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
But if Joe Burrow's incredible talent, again, a team that, got beat up, got off to a slow start. The first game is as important as the last game. A lot of times people will say, well, you know what, you can make it up. No, the first game, every W has value. Every L is a negative. And where it occurs in the schedule, people might get misled that might be the most important part, but it's not true. You have to have them all.
Joe, man, that's awesome. That's great stuff. And I want to remind everyone, Joe, of course, before we let you go, we're going to hit you with our final three quick questions in just 1 second, but I want to make sure everybody goes to AmericanCenturyChampionship.com. That's where you can still get tickets, I believe, for Friday and Sunday. I think Saturday's sold out right now, but find a scalper, find a third-party ticket system and get there Saturday. Joe, we're going to be there. We will.
Find the scalper. I love you, man.
I mean, it's still, like the 90s.
Go get a ticket somewhere, right?
I mean, you can show up, get it, and if not, then just pull up on the hole 17 of one of your boats where all the ladies lose all their clothes. I don't know where that happens. I'm sorry.
And log on to ACCFantasyGolf.com to play the fantasy game.
Yeah. They got George Kittle brand new this year at 20 plus 250 to win this thing. I kind of like that. You got way better odds than George Kittle. You're at like, plus 75 or something. So George Kittle's getting a deal.
I'm going to put it out there. I
like that. I'm going to take you
this year. Okay. So, and I don't think George is either. Okay. I think the world of them, but
I like underdogs, Joe.
You know what they're probably going to wind up doing. One of the threesomes will be, it could be the Kelsey brothers played together last year, but it'd probably be George, Travis. And I'm not sure of another tight end that's out there, but I'm sure, those two will definitely be paired together.
There's a couple. Yeah, that's going to be great. So three quick ones, Joe. We'll let you go. We'll have some fun with it. Mine is, it's the 50th year anniversary of Jaws, 1975. So what is your favorite summer blockbuster of all time? Is it Jaws? And will you go in the water as a result?
No, I won't go in the water. I love the water, but I don't go in the water anymore. I go to a pool because I can control what's in the pool. The sharks live in the ocean. That's their house. I'm not going to somebody's house. I'm sorry. I made that decision. But yeah, I think that's an all-time blockbuster.
Yeah, 50 years it's been out. So
I know it's unbelievable. I've been watching some of the stuff, and it's incredible the way it was filmed, and the track. It almost didn't make somebody's career. Stephen didn't have the year. It almost turned out bad for him.
Yes.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. The Commanders uniforms, yay or nay?
Which ones?
I'll go with
We're
my
all black.
favorite.
They've got all kinds of combinations.
My favorite Commander's uniform is the all black. To me, that's a top 10, top 8 uniform in the National Football League. I love those things. I love the Commander's uniforms.
I love the old ones, man.
Yeah, me too.
Of course.
When I had
back.
a chance to wear, I loved it. But I do like the black one. I think it's unique, it's different, and they look like the Black Knights out there charging away.
Look, Joe, you're my favorite color commentator of all time. My favorite play-by-play. Brian brought him up earlier. Mike Patrick. Sadly, we lost him April 20th. But he is my favorite. I wanted to give you this opportunity not to just tell us about how great of a broadcaster and teammate he was, but how great of a person and a man that he was as well.
Michael was special. As a matter of fact, Michael and I shared a birthday. Our birthday was September 9th. And, we'd always find each other, even after we got out of broadcasting. And we lost him on Easter Sunday this past year. Yeah. And the thing about Mike, Paul and I would tend to argue a little bit.
And I loved it. Every Sunday night, I loved it.
Mike was the only sane one in that booth, to be honest with you. Michael was the mortar that kept this house together. He really was. He quit smoking, but for a long time he would smoke, and he would you knew when Mike was lighting up a cigarette because you could hear the click on the mic. He'd be second down and 7, click. That means he was lighting up a cigarette. And then he quit, God bless him, and just really was, special. He'd ask the right kind of questions in the meetings, very even keeled, very, very calm and collected. And Paul and I would sort of go off the rails every now and then, and Michael would just reel us back in. His demeanor was incredible. He was a gin partner of mine. Until he beat me a bit so bad, I turned him over to Paul, and he beat Paul. So, but here's a funny story. So Paul and Mike, we did games in Tokyo. We did about, 10 games in Tokyo. We'd fly from DC to Narita, 13-hour flight. These two guys, I'm not kidding, would play gin the entire flight. The entire flight. As a matter of fact, Paul was so good at libation that they ran out of beer on one of the flights we were on. And so, but they were, we really were like the three Musketeers or the Three Stooges, however you want to label us. But it was an inseparable friendship. I miss him dearly. Played golf with them. We used to, do other things together, go out and eat. And he just was a really, really special person to be around. And I learned a lot from him, and I miss him.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
I miss your honesty in the booth, because you kept it real with no matter who was playing. If it was Joe Montana, if it was Drew Bledsoe, if it was Tom Brady, whoever, you always kept it real. So you wanted to go to that, man. I appreciate you. And by the way, the Chiefs played the Packers in one of those Tokyo games, like 95, 96 or something like that.
Yep. I was fortunate enough to be invited to Mr. Hunt's, the dinner Mr. Hunt had there at that time. So it's, the Kansas City has always been a dear place. We have dear friends in Kansas City, and, Jonathan Thomas, who was the CEO and chair of American Century Investments, has done so many wonderful things in the city of Kansas City and with the company. And it has expanded, I think, the opportunity for so many people to be able to do well in their life, but also to be able to help so many people. Real quick, guys, there was a time in my life where I thought I was really special. You win a championship, everybody tells you you're wonderful, and then all of a sudden you start believing it. And then after I got hurt, I found out a very important thing, that we're not put on this earth to be served. We're here to serve others. And that's exactly what American Century Investments does, is they serve others. And I think if all of us figured out a way every day to put a smile on somebody else's face, it would make our day much better.
Amen and amen.
Absolutely. You're always special and wonderful to us, Joe. We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up your book, How to Be a Champion, and you can get that at joetheismann.com. So How to Be a Champion Every Day, 6 Timeless Keys to Success by the wonderful and special Joe Theismann right there.
I think I'm going to grow back my sideburns.
I love that.
Yes, we need it.
You know why? Because I can.
And also, we got to say happy early 4th, Independence Day. It's a big time of year. We love it. We're all flag wavers around here, Joe. I know you are as well. So you're a part of the allies here. We got you the Uncle Sam hat. Looks
I
like
like that.
Brian's got the George Washington across the Delaware
It's a
hat.
good look for you, Brian.
I've
Where's
got
my
the
wooden
wig.
teeth?
Joe, it is an honor, man. We will see you next week. We're going to hunt you down there on either 9 or 18. So get ready for us. We'll grab you and we'll say hi, and can't wait to do it, man. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so
You
much.
bet. Everybody have a safe 4th of July. Take care.
You bet. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. You too. Take care. Love you, Joe. Thanks.
That's the great Joe Theismann. Here we are, guys, on July 1st, and just something about when the calendar rolls over and Brian being here, it's got me ready because I took this long off season. Brian, I think you said it yourself. Whenever the season ended the way it did, you said, man, I need some time.
Yeah.
And I think we've all needed some time. I think the team needed some time. I think Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, that we've all have needed some time to distance ourselves from that. But are you feeling, Brian, more like, hey, I'm kind of getting ready to get back into this and start thinking about picking up the pieces and going for another run?
Yeah, man, I'm starting to get that itch again, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, Clint. In this offseason, I feel like has been I don't know if you can call an offseason a good offseason after a Super Bowl loss like that, but I think it went exactly how the Chiefs needed it to go. It was minimal distractions. You got most of your key guys coming back. I thought it was a great draft. You had some great offseason free agency additions to this team. And I think they did exactly what they needed to do to make another run. Now, I will say one thing, although I am getting ready, I'm not all the way there yet. I still have not brought myself to watch that Super Bowl again.
No.
And I gotta watch it though. I have to go through it and I gotta see the remnants of what we discussed last year. Because I think about this a lot. During the season, I was one of the ones who was, these games are close because Andy Reid is keeping his plays, tucked close to his heart, and he doesn't want to let it show. The running game was a problem all year last year, even though Kareem Hunt, came in and made a valiant effort. It was a big issue. And the point that I made to Joe Theismann about the receiving yards that the running backs have failed to get is really affected the offense. In 23, you saw it slow down a little bit. Of course, the injuries had affected that team as well. But last year, it's like it came to a halt, and it showed. There's no way that team was supposed to almost lose to Denver at home because of a blocked field goal. No way that team is supposed to go into overtime against the Carolina Panthers. No way that team is supposed to have that many close games as they had in the middle of the season, at the end of the season. Now, they did turn it on towards the playoffs, and I thought they were a little different then. As good as they were in the playoffs, minus those injuries, if you have a healthy Pacheco, you have just one of those wide receivers on this offense, or maybe a functional offensive line on the left side, then that team, I think, still wins the Super Bowl. But with all of those injuries and with everything being said and got our ass whooped in the Super Bowl, I'm looking for this team. Like we thought that the bounce back from the loss against the Bengals was something. I think this year ain't gonna have nothing on 22 because you pointed to it earlier, Clint, with and look, y'all know I got to use my French on here, with so many people talking so much shit about Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. It's so much bulletin board material for this team this year. So that's why I'm getting excited, because of all the doubters, all the naysayers. They are circling the wagons for the Chiefs.
And this team has more
why is
than that team coming back from the Bengals AFC Championship loss. I mean, we get rid of Tyreek Hill. I feel like we're coming in with Juju and MVS. I feel like this has more talent. You see what Xavier Worthy did. Maybe that's kind of a blessing in disguise because of Rasheed and Hollywood going down. He had to develop faster than maybe he normally would have. And now with Hollywood coming back and Rasheed coming back and a healthy Pacheco coming into the season, knock on wood that everything stays healthy with him and Hollywood and Rasheed. But I think that's huge. And plus, I mean, you talked about it a little bit, Brian, this draft class. I mean, a lot of people are excited about this. Jalen Royals dropping to the 4th round. Rashard Smith maybe taking over, him and Elijah Mitchell kind of teaming up to take over that McKinnon, P. Ryan role, hopefully even more than what P. Ryan was able to give us. And obviously Josh Simmons, the defensive line, I loved what they did there.
Yes, me too.
And a tackle. Yeah, I thought that was huge. What do you think of this draft class?
See, with Omar Norman Lott, I just think he's a direct replica of Treshaun Wharton, who to me, next to Chris Jones, was the best defensive lineman the Chiefs had last year. And at times he Seems like he played better than Chris Jones in the regular season. With that being said, you answer so many questions potentially with this draft. The running back situation with catching the ball out of the backfield. I feel like they got Jerick McKinnon Jr. with Bashar Smith in the 7th round. You again, you fix the D tackle issue that we had with Tashawn Wharton leaving. You get another dynamic corner. You get and the biggest one of all time, of course, is our left tackle situation with Josh Simmons. Don't let him be healthy coming into this season.
Right.
Don't let him be healthy because it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for the league if they all of a sudden the Chiefs have one of the best young offensive lines in the league. It's going to be a problem because if you think about what Patrick Mahomes and what he's looked like in 22, when the offense was good and functional, you had a great offensive line. Orlando Brown was on that left side holding it down. Tooney, Creed, Trey Smith. Who was the right tackle? Juwan Taylor, 22? No.
Not 22.
Look, it was no sacks in that Super Bowl. I remember that. I remember those shirts. But what I'm trying to say is in 23 and 24, we have seen Patrick Mahomes run around with his head cut off because he doesn't have the proper blocking or because it breaks down or because his receivers don't know what they're doing. How many drop passes have we seen? Mahomes hasn't been comfortable since 22, bro. So I'm looking forward to this offensive line being just way more polished than they were last year. And I think that that's going to be a direct effect of Mahomes having another MVP season.
Noah, I'm going to go to you with this because my question to you is why, it's kind of rhetorical. It's stuff we talk about all the time. Why is this Chiefs team maybe the least talked about that we've seen among national pundits? We've seen Colin Cowherd, Jason McIntyre, so many others completely write this team off. They're a wild card team. The Chargers have obviously won the division. I mean, it's July, so it's time to crown a division champion for the Chargers. It's around that time. And they say, well, they still got offensive line issues. And what Brian's talking about, well, what else are you supposed to do? You draft a left tackle that would probably have been the top tackle taken, if not for his patella tendon injury. And you also, you acquire Jalen Moore from the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what else you can do to bolster that offensive line. And then the trio of receivers, add to that Travis Kelce coming back once again. And so, Noah, where does this hate exactly come from? Other than just the only idea I can think of is just what we've been dealing with for the last 5 years, which is what I call Chiefs derangement syndrome, because that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is that. I think for some of the pundits and shows, it's clickbait, it's rage bait out there for Chiefs Kingdom. They know there's a ton of fans out there, Swifties, if they say something negative about Kelce and the Chiefs. From the fans out there, I think a lot of it is the ref narrative just blew up last year. Of course, with all those close games, it was already going, but it just took a world of its own last year. And the last image that everyone has in their mind is us getting spanked by the Eagles for an entire 4 quarters, 60 minutes. So with that and the refs, and nobody wants to take into account the injuries, they just assume that we were healthy because that takes too much digging to find out who was injured and what. I just heard some injuries. Everybody deals with injuries, whatever. No, we were without running back 1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. What is the offense left
running
to do?
Running back 1, left tackle 1. Go down the list.
So, yeah, exactly. I mean, and now all these guys are healthy. We're coming back. We've got freaking reinforcements coming in here. And I mean, here's who's departed. And other than Joe Tooney, I don't really know who you're exactly missing. Yes, Justin Reed, but I really like
Justin Reed.
I like Justin and Turk, but
I feel like we got
all those roles. No, but to your point, the Chiefs made reinforcements. All of those guys have been replaced. Like Justin Reed's replacement was already on the roster last year. We saw that. Joe Tooney's, I guess, pseudo replacement they drafted. Turk's replacement they drafted. They drafted P-Ron's replacement and McCole Hardman's replacement as well. So that, that's why I fell in love with the draft. I thought they nailed it. I thought they hit it out of the park on every single pick. And I mean, look, time will tell. Time will reveal what these players actually have to offer. But with this team, bro, with the reinforcements you all talked about, and I hate that people think that we overpaid for Jalen Moore. Damn it. And to answer your question, it's recency bias. And this goes into the Jalen Moore thing. Joe Theismann said it. When you get your ass whooped by 4 defensive linemen the whole game, they didn't blitz anybody. And I don't remember a play in that Super Bowl where Patrick Mahomes, at least in the first half, had any time to do anything at all. The Chiefs could not figure out that pass rush at all. And so when you look at that game and you think about, oh, well, Patrick couldn't get out of that. He couldn't run around with his head cut off in the Super Bowl. Teams haven't figured out, blah, 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 blah. Everybody ain't the Eagles.
Exactly.
Let's get that straight. Everybody doesn't have 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playing on their defensive line. And also, they got 5 more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on their offensive line, too. Joe Theismann, I thought he nailed it correctly. And it's all recency bias, which is why I don't mind the Chiefs overpaying for a swing tackle who you need. You need him, bro. We cannot rely, because as much as I did brag about Josh Simmons, he still has an injury. So we cannot solely rely on that. We did that a couple years ago and it blew up in our face. So
what if somebody gets injured? What if Jawan Taylor gets injured, or if Josh Simmons starts and he gets re-injured, or Jalen Moore goes down?
Don't start Caliendo. That's all I ask. Don't start Caliendo, please.
Guard. Even if it's Kingsley, I'm worried about left guard, but guards, you can hide a little bit better than your left tackle. You can't hide that. And so you have to get that solidified. That is, Clint and I maybe say we hate the offensive line talk. We don't want to deal with it, but you have to have a left tackle. You cannot have a guard.
I'm glad you brought that up. Do you remember it was probably 2 or 3 years ago where you were arguing me down. You were like, well, what's the difference between the best offensive line and the 15th best offensive line?
Well,
we keep having the 32nd best offensive line.
Yeah, I was going to say
Chiefs didn't have the 32nd now.
I mean,
it wasn't the 32nd
in that game, maybe.
But I just hate that mainstream media, like they will just straight up ignore the offensive defensive line when real football heads know that determines the game.
Well, it does and doesn't, because I think that, this offensive line was putrid all through the season, and the team went 15-2. The point being, it took this Eagles team that you're talking about with 4 Avengers on the defensive line and 5 on their offensive line to completely expose it. So yeah, there's an ebb and flow to that argument, because with Kingsley Suamataia getting murdered, with moving Joe Thuney out of position to left tackle, this team went 15-2, would have been 16-1.
Ran through the playoffs,
scored 30 against the Bills, hadn't scored 30 all season. And so but that's why you bolster it and you make it better, and they did. So I think that all's well that ends well here, hopefully. And I don't know what else they could have done. The guy from the Ravens, I don't think was going to be the answer long term. And
Ronnie Stanley,
they signed him. So they did what Brett Veach does, which is he addresses major gaping issues. Maybe not always at the wide receiver position. We're still waiting for that 1,000-yard season from Sky Moore. Maybe this is the year, Brian. Maybe does Sky Moore make this team?
We just got a TikTok comment before you go, Brian, that says, if Sky Moore still rostered, then they might be cooked, from Cobra Kai. So
I'm just waiting on somebody else to get that beautiful number 24 number. We need that off of Sky Moore ASAP. He needs to wear number 47 or 46 or some ugly ass number or something. Just we need somebody else in that 24, bro.
Yeah,
that is a good number being wasted. That's true.
Yeah, and we'll just go to this kind of before we close out here. And it's our roster, or it's our schedule, the Chiefs schedule. We got preseason schedule, but the schedule starting off in Brazil. Then we got a rematch with the Eagles, a Super Bowl rematch in week 2 here in Kansas City. So, Brian, what were kind of your first thoughts when you saw this, other than all the primetime games, Christmas, Thanksgiving, we're everywhere again?
Well, my first thought was, I knew that we were going to get Dallas on Thanksgiving. I called that last year on my Brian's World podcast. Already knew that was signed, sealed, delivered. And now I'm just waiting on the NFL to just give us the Thanksgiving treatment on Christmas.
Yeah.
Just make Arrowhead a permanent Christmas home of the NFL. It fits Kansas City. A Christmas in Kansas City is so beautiful. And my wife, kind of exposed me to that, especially with the little things that the Chiefs did at Arrowhead. I don't know if you all know about that, but it was like, I don't know, Wonderland and Arrowhead or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, those are my first 2 thoughts. But besides that, as a whole, the entire schedule, you want a primetime team? We got one. And we're going to get primetime games every single week. I'm looking for some of those games at the end to be flexed into, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, or whatever. they better come out on fire. And they always do. Patrick Mahomes has a great record in September. October, different story. That's his worst month. But they have to come out on fire and make a statement against the Chargers. First off, this is our division. It's going to continue to be our division. What's this? 9 years in a row we aiming for winning the
10.
AFC West. Oh, this is going for 10.
Yeah.
Lord, it is 16, 17, 18. Yeah, it is. We started winning in 16.
Yeah.
So they have to make a statement there. And I know it's a regular season game, but payback is going to be on the minds, not only on Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and the rest of the team, but the fans. It's going to be 1992, 1995 Arrowhead, an at-home opener against the Eagles. So much so that I might even go to that game. And because I haven't really been going to Chiefs games the past couple years or so. I've kind of tamed that down a little bit. But that is one I might go to just so I can just feel the energy of Kansas City. Just because they are going to roar like I have never heard them roar before, because they're going to be looking for blood against this Eagles team when they come into Kansas City as our home opener in week 2. Was not excited about that though. I did not like that the Eagles is the first game. Why they got to be the first game at home? I guess that will be our healthiest. But besides that, man, it was the schedule has lost since the Chiefs have been so dominant and so good the past decade or so. Like the schedule release don't hit the same. It doesn't. I used to be like so excited to say because we already know we're playing all the first place teams. Yeah. We're playing another first place team in the NFC. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. We're the standard. We're the bar. You got to bring your A game to play us. Of course, we're going to bring ours, but you're the one that has to worry about coming into Arrowhead or us coming into your house and winning. So I think that the Chiefs still have their mystique. We are still them. We still him. Chiefs still the team still feared the Chiefs, and that's like that's the biggest thing. That's how you get teams doing things that they don't normally do, not following the game plan when they feel like it's okay. It's Jordan coming into town. It's Mahomes coming into town. I need to, and teams kind of lock up a little bit sometimes. So I think the Chiefs still have that mystique around them. It's just going to be a matter of staying healthy, man. That is the one thing that affected this team the most last year, and it's going to come down to that.
I think it's interesting that you don't want that Eagles game early, because I do. I'm itching to get back on the field with them and figure out, like, do they just dominate us? Is this what this is going to be? How do we respond to that? Do we come out and beat them? Does Travis Kelce come out leaner, meaner? He said he didn't bring it in that game and didn't have the right mentality or leadership in that game. So I want to see them come out, win that game, and prove that was just a one-off game. And so I'm itching to get to week 2. I'm kind of skipping over that Brazil game. We take care of the Chargers, whatever. Let's get to week 2 and get this Super Bowl rematch going.
Hey, man. Hey, look, Noah. Okay, this ain't the year for that. This ain't the year. This ain't the year to just blow off the rest of the AFC West. This is not the year. Look, I know we talk every year about off-season championships that everybody gives the Chargers. I get it. But look, y'all, all 3 of those, the Raiders not so much, but they're going to be good though.
Yeah, they're not.
Denver and LA, they're going to be a problem.
Those are 4 tough games.
They're going to be. We can't just blow off the AFC West this year.
They'll be close games. I just expect to win them all, just like we did last year. Close game. They're good. They're talented. They'll stay close, but I don't believe in Herbert or Sean Payton and Bo Nix and that offense coming up with it late. I know they should have last year, but we blocked the field goal. But that's just what we do around here. So
it's going to be fun. We're living in it, man. This schedule, and we talked about it last year. Really similar in nature. In the fact that these primetime games, the all eyes on you. And it just, let's just be honest, Taylor Swift's going to be at every one of these damn games. She's off tour. She's going to be around. She's going to be a Kansas City resident, wherever that big house Travis Kelce bought out in Kansas. That's going to be where Taylor Swift resides for this season. And she's going to be out here, I'd say, every game, guys.
Yeah.
That mean Kansas City TMZ media going to be all over it, covering it.
I'm gonna get me a Kansas address.
All right, now don't run into Jerry Rice.
I didn't want to bring that up to Joe because we'll be. I don't know if Joe knows where those guys, but let's just say
was that a year ago?
Yeah.
Was that 2 years?
That was
Like
last year,
exact-
the American Century.
that-
So it's the same
Oh,
event.
that was at that. Oh,
Yeah.
fellas, I didn't know.
Hey, just say it took some twisting of arms. We do get to go back, so we'll see everyone in Lake Tahoe next week, even though it was tenuous at best.
You fellas behave yourselves now. Okay. Now, if who's a former Eagles wide receiver? Let's see. What Todd Pinkston? If Todd Pinkston comes up to you,
Freddie Mitchell,
and he starts asking you about, our left tackle or something like that, you going to give him the Jerry Rice treatment? How Jerry Rice treated you last year? Okay.
No,
yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
Freddie Mitchell. There's Freddie Mitchell out there golfing, huh?
Fred X.
Those old Eagles wide receivers.
But before we get out of here, Brian, I want to give you a few moments to talk about Brian's World, what you're doing with Foolish Club Media. Tell everybody where they can find that, my brother.
Oh, man. I appreciate you, man. I got a pod dropping tomorrow. I'm talking about Travis Kelce and him. He said it himself. He was not the best leader last year, specifically during the Super Bowl. I'll give you my thoughts on that. The NBA in Kansas City, Paul Pierce, he recently had a video talking about why is it the NBA here. I have thoughts on that. I give an update on my thoughts on the stadium situation with the Chiefs and the Royals and why one team moving out to the Legends makes absolutely no sense. And last but not least, there is a Mexican rapper named That Mexican OT. Good rapper, man. But he says that nobody's going to stop him from saying the N-word. I'll have a discussion on that. All that is dropping tomorrow on Brian's World. Check me out on YouTube. Be Shining. You can find it there.
I thought you were going to say you're having him as a guest on, and that would be very interesting if you were to do that.
I would love to. I would love to have a conversation with him about it. It's a very complex conversation that I think needs to be had.
I cannot wait for that, all that and more, because those topics are all diverse and all different and interesting. I have so many questions about all of them. So can't wait for the new Brian's World pod, man, and
appreciate
to get that
it, man.
rolling up this season. And you come on with us today, man. I'm a nostalgic guy. I live in the 80s and 90s as it is, but to have you come in here with us, it's like it just takes me back to all those Super Bowl titles of 22 and 23 and back before I turned 40 and my hair all got gray and fell out, and just missed you, buddy. It's been so nice.
I miss you guys too. That's why when you all hit me up, I could not turn it down this week. Look, I'm tired as hell. Okay, today. No, but you all energize me. I love coming on with you, and I appreciate you always inviting me, man.
Thanks,
it's always big love this way.
Man, we didn't miss a beat. We love you too, my brother. Can't thank you enough for coming on. We'll do it again throughout the season when you can, when we're all not so tired, when we get a little more pep in our step when we're rolling through the AFC West. I'm sorry, we're going to just 6-0. Appreciate you, my friend. Till
Thanks
next
a lot,
time.
guys.
Go Chiefs!